It's a fact you're not here. You ain't even real, but you still bring me fear. You make my bones so tired that my soul stands up. But now I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. It's like I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. Oh.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to The Working Wing, the podcast where every week we watch some episodes of The West Wing and break them down from our own unique working leftist perspective. My name is Tim Schultz, and joining me, as always, a man who, my dear friend, my longtime debate partner, and a man who definitely knows that the White House tracks phone calls. He's very careful about that. Killian Collins is here.
Thank you, Timmy. It's good to see you. And as always, we're going to talk about something that always brings the FBI to our attention, national security risks, and, of course, the favorite plot line, they've taken the president's daughter.
Yes.
I'm doing it for my family. He's doing it for his family, don't you see?
These are three of maybe the best episodes of The West Wing and also the weirdest episodes of The West Wing.
Yeah, there's a couple of tropes. I think like a overall democratic, seeming like characteristics that embody this. One of which I just noticed in this last episode was celebrating a total fucking loss, like a total slap in the fucking nuts, as like but we actually won. When it's like, no, you didn't though. Like, actually, it's like you totally like fucked over yourself, and like everyone's kind of like looking at you like you can't do anything. And then you guys on top of that are going, yeah, but it's kind of a win when you think about it though. If you're like smart enough. Like, yeah, if you're like, if you like do these mental circles, like, yeah, I guess it makes sense. But
yeah. No, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Oh my God. It's like Bartlett, yeah. All right, we'll get into it.
But anyway, we have to start with like one of the most important developments that are always happening in political life that we see every day that affect working people all the time. It's outer space. Of course, that affects like what we do every single day, which, in all honesty, it is a little bit because we do have these things in our pocket that are only around because we started like fucking around with space travel. But hey, I mean, that's
I like the way this episode, I have always really liked this episode, and I think it's laid out very neatly, where it starts with a like absurd question about outer space, and then you add in like the computers in the classroom thing, and then you get to the vice president as a giant pervert.
Yeah. Yep.
This is Aaron Sorkin's final 3 episodes of The West Wing right here, so I am inclined to at last extend him a bit of grace, giving him his kudos as a writer of television.
Yeah, and like hopefully as like a writer that would stay off of television, but doing other crap.
He did.
Anyway, we start with Charlie waiting in the rain for a lady named Charlie Huddle who gives the president an envelope. And what's in this envelope is the VP's resignation.
Yeah, it's dark and stormy, and like it's interesting in that this woman, despite what you might think by the end, is not like one of the ladies that like the vice president has been having an affair with, or his wife who just found out that she's been cheated on by her husband.
No,
it's the staffer who just looks so devastated, and we're supposed to be like, oh no, this poor staffer, she's so lost and scared.
Or it's like, nah, dude, that's just a job for them, like.
Exactly, but yeah, everyone is so serious during this scene. But I think it's a genuinely good reveal. I think it works. The tension is played out throughout the entire scene. You get these long tracking shots. Everyone's looking serious, and like sometimes that they go too much so that everyone is serious well. But in this case, I think the music honestly enhances it. I think this is well done. And then he opens the letter and it's just one simple sentence. I resign the office of vice president effective at 6 a.m. John Hoynes. What say you, Killian?
I mean, it is kind of silly that it is this whole dramatic presentation.
Okay, I want to challenge you when we talk about these last 3 episodes. Pretend that Aaron Sorkin is not a neoliberal piece of shit that you hate. All right, separate his politics and his worldview from his skill as a writer and director and showrunner.
I mean, the dramatic shot and stuff. Yeah, it's a good shot, dude. It's whatever. It's fine, but it's what's it actually portraying? It's portraying a staffer giving this letter that something that they knew was going to happen for a while, and then it's the 3 days later thing, which in terms of writing, I'm always thinking is a little bit it better be a damn interesting story, but of course, it's really not that interesting. It's really just the type of thing you find out oh, how's the VP resigning all of a sudden? You mentioned unfair. I wonder if that's getting close to it at all. I mean, it could be a number of things. Whatever this. Right,
because they don't mention an affair in this opening sequence. That comes out later.
No, well, I mean, yeah, but this poor sad staffer coming in the rain seems like it could be seems like it's some big horrible stain.
Yeah, I mean, from our 2024 post Me Too movement perspective, it certainly does portray a certain type of thing. But anyways, yes, we do go back to we do flashback to what is it? Is it 3 days, 2 days?
3 days. 3 days earlier, when CJ's getting bombarded by the press office.
CJ's having fun. She's saying happy birthday to the wrong people. She's doing her shtick.
Yeah. One's on her grill about hiding something about the government keeping the knowledge from the public about.
Right. Well, yeah, because she calls somebody in back for a private one-on-one, and they introduce their science editor, who asks if the United States is concealing evidence of life on Mars.
Yeah. Right. Then Matt Perry's character, Joe, what's his name, is looking drab in his basement office that they're giving him. Blair intros. CJ comes in to make fun of him, tells him that the farmer safety net, something about.
They argue back and forth about the farm safety net.
Yeah,
CJ and Matt Perry.
Yeah, it was in the NASA drama. It's
right. She this is a thing that she doesn't want to deal with, so she is pawning it off on the new council.
Yeah, the new Republican council that they can bully around and make them pay.
Right. Yeah, we see CJ throwing her weight around as a senior staffer, which is weird.
Yeah,
it is a bit weird that. I like this episode, but you do get these very West Wing things of somehow CJ just waltzes into the council's office and is giving him orders and big dogging him all over the place.
Yeah. Then we get Will and Toby watching ad on fuel efficiency standards, and they're arguing. It's something about them some Republican ad about hauling the whole family on a whole road trip across America, which I mean in today's perspective is hilarious when you think about gas prices and how can you really afford to take off of work to take all your whole family on a road trip and haul this bullshit with you and not be close to work.
The two big takeaways are, oh my God, they still haven't found an actual writing staff.
Yeah.
And this is a very bleak look for Democrats.
Yeah. Donna's annoyed by Donna's annoyed by her bane of her episode is this bird in the window. Josh needs the mess cleaned up. Josh pawns off some work he was supposed to get from Leo onto Donna.
Yes.
Some dramatic call. Leo tells Josh about the Defense Department made the NASA call.
Yeah, Josh asked a question and the situation changed. I don't know what that's really.
I mean, there was some deal about like some guy named like.
Oh, right. Yes, exactly. Yes, because it's the two questions together. It's the computers and it's the NASA report.
Yeah.
And then the entire White House is going to get hit with a harassment suit because they just can't help themselves. Donna does that cute little thing where she gets him to call himself a shyster or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, we get Charlie and Toby eating lunch at Toby's office. Toby explains to Joe that the CJ cleans up the language in these reports that whatever the fuck they're doing. I just remember like in the scene, like Toby's just annoyed that like Charlie comes in and gives him a hard time about like being nice to Andy, about like trying to like, just pressures him into like, doing these like big old moves with Andy. And yeah, Toby's getting annoyed. CJ and Donna reflect on the annoying bird. Joe informs her about Stu Winkle, who's like the new gossip column who I guess exposes little NASA information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's stick the birds reference in here. Toby is wound tight. Yeah, we covered that. I like that scene with Toby and Charlie.
Yeah. It's a cute little scene. Cute little part of. Man, I just wanted to like have you just like sit. You could just like sit in my office and like watch tennis with me while I eat lunch instead of like grilling me on the shit.
Yeah, they talk shit about Helen Baldwin, who is significant because that's the lady the president was having an affair with. The vice president, sorry.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that because she's writing a memo. She's writing a memoir,
mm-hmm.
And that's where all these juicy little tidbits are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see CJ look possibly the most competent at her job that she has like ever looked in the run of the show up to this point. She masterfully finesses this gossip columnist Stu Winkle
mm-hmm.
to get the confirmation, and then like Coins is really bad at covering this up, so that like while she's on the phone call with Stu, Matt Perry is able to just show him where the just blatant call logs of like, here's this random chick who's just calling the vice president every single night.
Yeah. No, he's fucked. But anyway, the Hoynes meets up with the White House staff with Joe, and they basically they let him know he's fucked, and that like you gotta figure a way, you gotta get out of this before it blows up.
Right, and he gets kind of like shitty at them at the start of this, where he's like, I oughta punch you or something like that. And then he immediately is like, oh, yeah, no, like, for sure. I know exactly why you're here. But it's like, all right, if you know why they're here, why were you so shitty?
Yeah.
And also, why the fuck don't you have a cell phone? You goddamn idiot. This is 2004. People had cell phones.
Why is this bitch calling your office?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
People had cell phones by this point.
Yeah. I don't know. Will's with his harem of interns still arguing offensive thing. Arguing stupid.
It's gotta be a weird sex thing for Will at this point to have these like useless college girls.
I think it's a weird sex thing for Aaron Sorkin. I'm pretty excited to have Aaron Sorkin off of this, and because I feel like this is kind of a lame duck. This is a lame duck thing, but I'm guessing the writing gets worse by your.
The writing gets worse. The guy who played Will hosted a retrospective podcast on The West Wing, and when they get into like season 5, he recounts like Richard Schiff just like morosely showing up to like shooting days, being like, you know, we used to win awards on this show.
Okay, I mean, I guess we'll
just to set your expectation. I will not be having us watch very many episodes from season 5.
I guess I'll watch them on my own time, I guess.
It's a weird group for this confrontation too, right? Like Josh makes sense, CJ makes sense.
Why not call Sam in? You know, he's losing. He's going to lose that election anyway. Like he lost that election. Just
Sam is gone. Sam. I mean, yeah, they never explain. It's really weird because like they're originally like, oh yeah, Sam will come back and he'll be a super senior advisor to the president. It'll be a promotion for him, and then he loses his election and is just never brought back to the White House ever again.
Why? Like,
why? I think the reason is because
right, because he's done. But like, it's just kind of funny how they do the little like sort of like, oh yeah, this character might, but they actually don't want to fucking do it. That ain't gonna fucking happen. Yeah, and of course, Leo and the president confront Hoynes, tell him he's resigning. Heated exchange. Yeah, well, you've hit an MS. Of course.
Right. Well, and it's just like, yeah, Leo is pissed, also pissed that he's so bad at covering this up. The president is the president is delusional.
Yeah.
Because let's put into context, the vice president jeopardized national security so that he could get his dick wet.
Yes.
Like they're trying to, like Aaron Sorkin is trying to do that good old 90s defense of Bill Clinton of like, it doesn't matter what a man does in the bedroom as long as he's there at the job. And it's like, that, like the situation you have portrayed is not even the same situation as Clinton though. Because Clinton was not giving state secrets to Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, it's...
We have like a demonstrable like violation of his oath, and Hoynes knows it too. He's like, "No, I'm fucking done. Yeah. Once this comes out, it's over."
Yeah, he's done. Yeah, but then we get to the present day, and the president gets the envelope, and that's the story. That is basically the little patron saint. Yeah, the little that sin comparison of the Monica Lewinsky scandal, which I mean. But not even the same thing. You're totally right about that. But anyway, heading into this next
we need a new vice president, so that leads into the second part of this triple header.
Yes,
we open on finding a president.
Yeah, commencement. We start out with Josh searching for VP potentials, not finding much luck. Charlie's telling the story about like, man, me and Zoe buried a bottle of champagne. We said we're going to drink it before she graduated.
Suddenly we're in like the middle of a YA plot. We're in the middle of like some like one of the more mature Judy Blume books.
Yeah. Josh offers a weirdo advice. I remember like I can't remember what I can't remember what Josh said.
Josh told him he should go and dig up the bottle and give it to her as a going away present. So that she doesn't go off to Europe for the summer mad at him.
Okay.
That's pretty sound advice.
To go dig it up. I mean, yeah, if she doesn't get there first though.
Well, that later on that does come to be the thing.
Yeah, but the president's in the Situation Room. They're at ThreatCon Bravo or something. Some other fucking.
There are 5 sleeper agents that they were keeping an eye on. Which, I mean, who knows what we're calling sleeper agents these days, but there were 5 sleeper agents who have gone missing. And so they want to shut down Portland, basically, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about Portland. Port of Portland.
Donna asks if, I think it's over some cargo, some bit of cargo is missing off of some, for one of these like cargo ships. And Amy asks Donna if Josh is mad at her because Amy doesn't know shit about her man and knows that.
I have no time for this plotline. Whatever. I the rest of my notes, I just refer to this as the Bechtel fail sections of the because you have 2 ladies talking to each other
about a man.
Exclusively about a man the entire time they are on screen together.
Feminism at work. This feminist writing, guys.
Right, exactly. It's like two women who are supposed to be engaged in like the business of like running the nation, and instead they are only talking about which one Josh likes or who likes Josh.
Right. Like, he gets mad at these like certain things when you say it this way, but not like the other way. And it's like, I could kind of tell by his tone that he meant like something, but like, it didn't really feel that way. And like, I just didn't like the vibe in there. It's like, yeah, it's great way to portray strong women. Toby's babies are due soon. President admits there's an assassination plot to the staff. We bury story with emergency weather from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
that there's like, it's raining there all the time, which I've been to Portland. It's lots of different rain all of the fucking time that I would even say in Wisconsin was like, I wouldn't want to drive in this shit. But
yeah. The phase when you get called on your day off to your boss to tell you that you killed somebody.
Yeah. Will offers to help the president write the Georgetown speech. Josh and Zoe's French. Josh and Zoe meets Zoe's French Secret Service agent.
I also don't take any Secret Service agent who's friends with Josh all that seriously.
No.
That tells me you're not a serious person.
Yeah. President tells us that Secret Service agent to take care of Jacques, Jean-Jacques, whatever his name is. Leo states that the cargo ship is missing a container close to the ship of Portland. CJ sees Danny sleeping in her office couch when she shows up for work.
Just the worst reporter, ladies and gentlemen, just the worst fucking reporter in the country. Literally sleeping on the couch of the person who you're like writing a story about. And then what follows is freedom of the carefully negotiated press.
Yes.
Where it's like, we, the government, will graciously let you publish your story under these like terms and conditions that work out conveniently for us.
Yeah. That's exactly what pretty much happened.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, also So basically meaning that he knows the Sharif information, but she said yes. What we'll let you know what you want to publish about this, and the American public won't find out about this until many years later, once all this is like kind of swept under the rug, and we won't be able to get like the dropping against us and like won't affect like our president with our situation right now. Toby blindfolds his baby mama and takes her to a dream house reveal. Tells her, lets you know he bought a house, and he proposes to her, which she rejects.
It's a sad scene. Great fucking acting.
Yes, very good acting. Very, very good passionate moments here. But
these two episodes are just a tour de force for Richard Schiff.
Yes, they are. Yeah, and it's nice because he has nothing to do with the political aspect of this at all.
No, he does not.
It's just about a guy who's just like working all the time, like actually like doing family stuff, and he's cold as fuck. Like usually, especially in the last scene. I love the scene in the last episode. Her water breaks, and he's got to take her to the hospital. Which they were going to. What's the word for it again? They were going to. Start the pregnancy and like choose a date for it and everything.
Yeah, induce. Yeah,
they're gonna induce. Thank you, sir. Will reveals to speech to Abby Will's revealing the speech to Abby in a pantsuit, really looking Hillary-esque here. Goes over the speech of the president in the motorcade. Leo's with CJ and Danny, tells them that they're at ThreatCon Bravo, and yes, he makes an exclusive deal to. Read these stories afterwards, as you said, Tim. Well, that fine journalism at work of, hey, right. We have freedom of press as long as we, make the deal. We can say what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Amy and then Donna then talk to, fuck that storyline. Andy's babies are coming to the hospital. president criticizes Will's speech beforehand. He says it's like looking too Eastern, I guess. We need that.
Well,
nice...
he's just a neurotic wreck when it comes to the speech.
Yeah. Josh and Charlie looking for grad wine, and where are they? They're at some federal grounds where like federal officers can look around. But yeah, they're found by a Fed, to which Charlie, like one of them knows Charlie, and guard leads him there to where he knew apparently where the spot where he knew where the shit was buried by a certain tree, and Zoe's there waiting there with the bottle of wine.
Yeah, getting drunk. She's tipsy.
Yeah, admits her feelings that she still likes him, kisses him, and says, "I'm still going off to France." FBI is torturing. FBI is torturing the nationals who hid inside the container. The SS crew. Yeah, so the Secret Service crew are at a nightclub with Zoe, and then Donna and Amy are doing something. Yeah, they're still doing something.
Yeah, they're walking and talking and failing the Bechdel test, talking about Josh. CJ
and Danny then carefully negotiate what's going to be in that exclusive together. Also in like what's going to be carefully negotiated with their genitalia and like what they're going to do with each other. Zoe and her boyfriend negotiate like what's going to happen in France, swaps drink, and that's obviously drugged. And then she walks away.
Donna and Amy are talking again, and it's like this intense music and like all this shit, and then Amy is just like, "Do you love him?" And it was like, that was the tension, the subtext has always been there between Donna and Josh, right?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, totally. Like, how can you not feel it? And that's the thing. How could Amy be one of those like feminists who like isn't like hyper aware of that type of thing, and like actually like know how? Because this is like how women who communicate do it. Like when it's like they don't really understand like that. Like, in my opinion, they don't really like understand how to communicate with each other and like how to like not put the shit over a man or anything. And like,
this isn't being written by any kind of feminist.
Right.
This is
right at all.
This is being written by Aaron Sorkin. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, let alone it's like a woman, like even if you're a woman who's not a feminist would be like more realistic writing of a woman than like this shit would be.
Yeah. No. Yeah. This is just what Aaron Sorkin thinks that like women do when he's not around. Is talk about the guy, talk about him basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Josh has always been the Sorkin stand-in, and so he assumes that when he's not there, the women in his life just sit around talking about him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was gonna say at first, the Sorkin stand-in to me would have been Sam, but
Sam was the original one. Yeah. But one of the reasons Rob Lowe is not on the show is because they were not going to pay him more than Josh. I forget the actor's name, but Bradley Whitford. That's his name.
Which is kind of, it is kind of cray because it's like, yeah, if I were him, I would have been like, yeah, I'm like good looking enough where I can get on like better shows.
Right, exactly. No, Rob Lowe started off for the first 3 seasons. He was the highest paid actor on the show because the entire thing was conceived as a Rob Lowe vehicle.
Yeah.
So, but then when they came up for renegotiations, they were like, well, you're probably like the 5th most important actor on this show, and your salary is going to reflect that.
And he's like, write me off.
Write me off.
Write me off. Which, amen, brother. Hey, know your worth. Know your worth. Negotiate. But anyway, we then have like a dramatic scene of, like the Secret Service trying to track Zoe, not knowing where she is, to which the head agent, heads into this back alley and finds one of the agents murdered. Molly O'Connor, sweet Molly O'Connor murdered. We read an Irish ballad about her.
Yeah.
And then Zoe's emergency bracelet, like her panic bracelet, is also left behind too. To the dramatic conclusion, the last episode 23, named 25, You'll find out the reason later. Anyway, starting off with the president's wife at dinner, just vaguely talking about showing pictures of Zoe to their friends.
Yeah, sad dad moment followed by tragic moment. It's good. Yes. It's just incongruous. All of it makes sense. It's just this entire episode is incongruous.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden in this last episode, Sorkin, maybe he's just like putting it out there for content executives across Hollywood that like, oh, Aaron Sorkin, he can write a crime procedural if that's all you got, or he can write or he can write an international thriller.
Yeah, or if you know what, at the very end, if you're not convinced by that, he can write a political drama where it's dramatic.
Well, here's the thing, Killian. The West Wing won multiple awards for best drama while it was on. So in the eyes of the public at the time, he was already writing a political drama.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like coming out of the woodworks for it. This is kind of like the exam. I mean, it is like the start of the standard of it, but it's like then. But you're right, Tim. Like us watching Succession now and then this is a huge difference.
West Wing came along at a weird time where like within by this point in its fourth season, The Sopranos is airing, and I mean, I think that's really the big one that was happening at this point. And that's usually what's marked as like the start of the new age of television.
Yeah, it's the Sopranos.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Sopranos is pretty good, but like, yeah, even by today's standards, it's like, I think there's other shows that like hold up and do better and like, like really test that line. It's not like, I mean, because at the time too, like Lord of the Rings was like Fellowship of the Ring was a huge movie at the time too, and now it's like the golden standard. And now we have Game of Thrones. Like now it's like siege battles in a movie. If you're gonna make like a fantasy epic, that's the standard you want to have as fantasy. It's like one of those siege battles that like take up at least half an hour.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, but never mind. I won't go into a digression about Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings.
Coming soon on Working Wing.
Yeah.
The police and feds are scrambling. Yes, Tim. He's like, yeah, Aaron Sorkin's writing his best. I can write a nice cop drama. See all these flashing lights and all the sensory and all the sensory shit going on.
Sensory overload and lots of technical jargon being thrown at you and
people yelling.
Rapid cuts. People yelling.
Charlie like pushing people over because he's got to find Zoe. Like people getting pissed off. Get the fuck off of me, type of shit. We have the Situation Room saying we need more info and time, which is like funny to think about. Argue whether
you got the situation. Yeah, it's like is it the Iraqis? Is it
some psycho? Is it some psycho here who just?
Is it some white nationalist psycho like it was the last time?
Charlie's right there to like try to beat Jacques' ass for handing her ecstasy, but he's all fucked up. They give him a blood test.
I do have the line "Stand your post" because it's like he's trying out all these different genres and shit, but there's still that strain of insufferable like Aaron Sorkin stuff.
Yeah,
in here for sure.
Yeah. President has a press conference with Zoe. Nova so far, nothing. That's all questions are just sensationalism. One of them about this is going to affect the president's MS. Toby's then stressed that the babies are. Yeah, Toby's stressed out. And the whole staff's stressed out about the situation. But Toby has the good news of, hey, twins are there. Boy's named Huck. Kind of hate it.
Yeah.
I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll be your Huckleberry, Huck. The president delivers news to Molly's parents. Donna finds a random note Donna's going through like hate mail and then finds a ransom note for Zoe.
Oh yeah, Will. All right, before that, Will makes good points that kind of tie into how this episode concludes. Where they're like, oh, you know, Nancy and Leo are taking care of stuff. And Will's like, hold on, guys, that's not like what's supposed to happen. Like the president is supposed to be in charge.
Yup. Then we have GHB was found in shock. They found out he's kidnapped by.
But yeah, back to the ransom note.
Yeah,
it is weird. It's very weird to me that where it ends up, it doesn't end up in like the FBI office or even like CJ's office. It ends up at a fax machine in Donna's office.
Yeah,
which seems weird, but whatever.
Along with all the fan mail that Josh gets, which, you know, I'm sure Aaron Sorkin gets all this fan mail all the time. I mean, at the time, he was winning awards, I guess, so he's got to like brag about all the fan mail he's getting. Anyway, back to the ransom note. He's kidnapped by some Kumar nationalist group. They want Kumar to withdraw, apparently. Fitzwallace wants to a war position while Nancy is actually being the calmer mind in the situation for once.
Right. Well, it's like, it's weird, right? I've always found this weird. Where like they're all setting up the James Bond situation.
Yeah.
And then Nancy is just sitting here shitting all over everything they're saying.
Yeah.
But then they ignore Nancy and just go on like they're fighting a James Bond villain. So
yeah. Then Toby tells Leo about Toby tells Leo.
Richard Schiff and John Spencer just have an amazing scene here.
Yes, and it is. It's like I love these parts. I don't write a lot of notes. I just get to like see them, like just see these two men have a conversation about like, so hey buddy, like how'd it go? How'd it go with that house, buddy? Like, wait, you did it. And like Toby embarrassed and being like sad about and embarrassed is like, yeah, I don't really want to admit it. It just didn't work. Like
it has him rocked to his very core.
Yeah,
it has
very core.
Her rejection has him wondering, like, what type of person is he really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, is he really worth it at all? Like, how can he even be a father? But yes, like, and then Leo again is like, Toby, like, what happened? Like, how bad was it? To which Toby just turns up the volume on the TV and says, "Let's get back to like the horrible news cycle that we watch." Abby then has the mourning mother moment at the end of the season of wanting to go on and say that and just making the direct appeal live, to which Abby and CJ tackle her off and escort her away before she can threaten national security. Yeah. To which Abby's actor, I'll give her props. She had the great line of, "Well, it's what I've seen other mothers do it."
Yeah,
like,
poor Stockard. Yeah, poor Abby. Yeah, great acting by Stockard Channing.
Yeah. Nancy being peaceful. Yeah, Nancy being peaceful once Fitzgerald continues being a war hawk. They have some dramatic encounter with these two planes.
And again, it's weird. All right, they're already in the Situation Room, right?
Yeah.
You've got the most advanced monitoring system in the Western world, supposedly, and like every 5-star general in the country gathered together. And yet somehow Leo is the first one to know about the airplane.
Yeah.
Like, he comes into the room and tells them. And that beat does not make any kind of sense whatsoever.
Everyone's just getting
if it came anything
he was on Telegram.
It would, but yeah, like if that information came in, it would come to the Situation Room.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a very awkward. Like he needed to transition the scene on, so he had Leo come in with this information, but it was very awkward.
Yeah, it is very awkward because I was wondering like why the fuck is it coming out of Leo's mouth and not
and not like Fitzwallace holding up his hand, being like, "Okay, we're getting this shit about an airplane."
Anyway, this airplane had their. I guess the analogy I can put for it is they had their headlights off, and
right. Well, we find out
there's no comm.
As John Goodman finds out, it was like some drunk frat guys who were playing chicken.
Yeah.
Trying to see how long they could go against the Air Force. And John Goodman wants to shoot them down. But we'll talk about John Goodman later on.
Yeah. Yep. We have the president in a scene with Leo Bartlett on the chairs of Congress. Meets with them in private. Leo says, "One way or another, Mr. President, we're going to stand to one side, and we're going to stand to one side or another of you." And the president confesses to him that I told Zoe about this scary situation where she's going to get kidnapped like years ago and tried to scare the shit out of her, and now it's
great performance by Martin Sheen too. So many great performances in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. And he asked Leo to gather the cabinet and get the House Speaker. He's about to do something dramatic. Then we cut to another great scene, another great Richard Schiff scene.
Oh,
right?
All-time great scene. Richard Schiff with Toby with his babies.
It really makes up for I Am Sam. Like it really makes up for that. Like Anyway, he looks at his boy named Huckleberry and apologizes for his name.
Yes,
being from a different time, which I will say, Tim, there are names from different times that I still do appreciate. My great grandfather's name was Roger, and it's like a very outdated name today, but I think that is like a very common and strong name of its time.
Yeah, my nephew is named George, and I don't think that's a name.
George is a great name. George, I think George is a great, strong name. Like it's like I know it's an old name. It's like it's a name that it like transcends like other cultures and like gets into it. Like I could think of many other like Eastern European names, and they have Georgies. Like they have all of these many examples of this, and there's good strengths to it too, but also the people worry about. I think about names like, like more black sounding names or anything like that people say, well, yeah, you're more. Unfortunately, my wife, when she was a kid, she had like a counselor come into her school and say, well, you're going to be this successful because of how your name is. You're going to be this successful because of how your name was. And that was really fucked up because I don't think you and I had a counselor come into our schools and tell us that type of thing.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. Which was
they have done concrete. I mean, whoever told your wife that is probably because they have done studies about that. The whole name, but like they've done studies. Yeah, you submit the same resume to a whole bunch of different places, but some of them you use a white sounding name, some of them you use a black sounding name, and the results are completely different based on the exact same resume and job experience.
Yeah.
Pretty fucked.
It is. It's super fucked. So, but anyway,
yes. But Huckleberry is a good name. But I think I like the name. I'm not even against the name Huckleberry, but it's just like being called Huck is something that you can enjoy when you're like 50. That I don't think you get to enjoy when you're like 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old.
16 years old.
16 years old, yeah.
Like it's almost like a strong name, Lawrence. It's like, but many Lawrences I've known, like in our childhood, like did not go by that name. Like,
yeah.
But that just is what it is. But anyway, the girl's name is Molly after the shot Secret Service agent. Zoe's kid pictures are on the news at the hospital. Leo and Charlie cannot sleep. Leo tells them that we're freezing all non-essential executive signings.
And the shot actually opens with the Constitution and then pans over to Leo.
Yeah.
Which establishes what we're talking about here.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've been doing some reading. Apparently there's some shit you can do in this thing.
Yeah, just gotta double check the P's and Q's here.
Yeah. But they're invoking the 25th Amendment, which means that the president is invoking his power to step down, whether by impeachment or not. And it's not by impeachment, it's voluntary. stabbed his son because they have no VP and they know what
Right.
this means.
This is why this is a devastating defeat for the Democrats. If there was a vice president in place, then absolutely you can spin this as an absolute win for democracy, for the strength of the American system. The president is in a crisis that because he is too directly involved, cannot address it head on, so he steps aside for the duration of the crisis. That's fine. The problem for the Democratic Party in this context is that their vice president was a giant sex pervert and potentially a felon. So he had to resign. And so now doing this noble act of democratic self-sacrifice hands power over to the leader of the opposite party.
Right. To which, if you're the leader of the opposite party, you get to run with, hey, they had to hand off power for being too weak on powers in the world and not executing it, and they're too close to their personal powers. We're going to make sure we're hard security. And B, their backup was a giant sex pervert.
Yeah.
And guess what, guys? We know how to silence our boys pretty damn well. So we're gonna run with ours, and they get to run off of that. They get to run off of that. And it is like, if you are the Republican Party, this is a royal flush. This is go all in. This is you can't lose. They handed it to you. You lost the election, and they handed it to you, and you get to ride off the momentum.
In the scene where Bartlett is talking to the cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
the guy who speaks up and asks him is actually, I don't know if you recognized him from all the way back in season 1, which we covered more than a year ago at this point.
Uh-huh.
But he was the guy, in the State of the Union episode when they had to choose the designated survivor, the one person to stay behind while everyone else goes to the State of the Union.
Uh-huh.
This past week it was
that was the guy.
But that was the same guy. He played the mayor in Sunnydale too. That's how I mainly know him. And in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he played the mayor of Sunnydale. Okay. But continuity, some actual continuity on this show,
right,
which Sorkin is notoriously fucking terrible at.
But yes, the cabinet meets. But the guy who asked the question of if there are these problems where if this new president,
if you're giving an order and the new president is giving an order, who do we obey? The president's like, I'm not going to be giving any orders, and was like, well, yeah, but still, and then he just says, trust Leo,
and which is it's a pretty bad idea when you're just like, hey, well, we're worried about it's bigger than that. It's like political factions.
Oh yeah. While we're talking about the general failures of Democratic leadership in this universe, can we talk about how earlier in the episode, Josh earnestly floated the idea of Leo as the new vice president?
Yeah.
A guy who, within the lifetime of this show, was revealed to be a recovering drug addict.
Right. Yeah, instead of a sex pervert, how about an old pillhead?
Yeah, exactly.
We're the Democrats. It's literally the best we can do.
It's literally the best we can do. Sorry, guys.
Hey, guys, we're fighting for women's rights and humanity, and we're the only opposition against going back to the past. But we cannot tie our own shoelaces, and we don't know how to go to another store and buy other shoes without shoelaces.
Correct. We don't trust this newfangled Velcro thing.
Yes. Then we have the Speaker of the House.
The reveal is so good too, because it's John. We don't know who it is, and then it's John fucking Goodman, and it's holy shit, John Goodman is on the West Wing.
Yeah. Walter Sobchak himself is on the West Wing, and he is that House Speaker. He is that Newt Gingrich-esque GOP House Speaker, walking on in like he owns the place.
Not the House Speaker we have seen before. We have seen the House Speaker before, and it was not John Goodman. No. But now John Goodman is the House Speaker and soon to become acting president of the United States.
Yes. But yes, he comes in, tells him to breathe,
Breathe easy, everyone.
This makes me think of. It makes me kind of want to watch Alpha House. I think this was the inspiration for John Goodman in Alpha House.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that is a show where it is like starring him, and it's like he's like the head of this like GOP faction.
Okay.
Yeah, and it might be pretty interesting. It's good. I loved him on Righteous Gemstones. If you have not watched that show,
me and Alex started watching a bit of that. We didn't fully get into it.
I will tell you, I'll at least say this about it. The second season is fucking great. I love the second season. The rest of it's kind of meh, but Baby Billy, man, my boy.
But yeah, I love John. John Goodman is great.
Yeah, John Goodman's amazing in this, but yeah, he meets up with the staff. Yeah, but they have like little partial exchanges of like, if I find out that Molly was killed by one of your unregistered and the president, and of course the speaker's like, yeah, whatever, get your little chops in there, you little fucking choppy chihuahua. Like, yeah. We have it done. Will even pipes in and says, I think you should resign.
No, Will says you have to resign.
Yeah,
because you can't work for two branches of government at the same time. Yeah.
But yes, the president then pipes. What's his last thing he tries to pipe in for? What does Bartlet try? He tries to pipe in for like one last little thing about something else, and then
because like everyone starts shouting suggestions about what they need to do. Mm-hmm. CJ, I think, or Josh says something about we need to remind the nation that there's someone in charge, and then John Goodman or President Walken, as I think his name is,
Glenn Allen Walken.
Yeah, Glenn Allen Walken says.
Glenn Allen Walker, I think. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he starts talking about World War I. He talks about how the entire world imploded because one man's nephew died, and that ain't gonna happen here. And so I think the people in this room need to know there's someone in charge. Yes. And then Bartlet pipes in, everyone's tired, Glenn, and he said, "You're relieved, Mr. President." To which
Martin Sheen is defeated. Hayes says yes. He says swear him in, and gives his last command. Leaves the office as Glenn Allen Walker is sworn in and becomes the next president, which I think at this point would be the 43rd president of the United States.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's how, it pretty much ends with that. And I was really eager to go, and that's the end of Aaron Sorkin's tenure on the West Wing. And I was even a little eager. I even tried to see because none of that Zoe plot line is resolved at all either.
He left them a huge hangover.
Yeah. It sounds like it. It sounds like he left them like a horrible hangover, because it's like, wow, you have all these loose ends that you're not even focused on at the end. You're just kind of like, you just darted all this shit out about because all this stuff about like the terrorists beforehand and like where who even has Zoe, all of that's like fucking irrelevant. And like, compared to like what the end of the episode, it just meant to be like a giant cliffhanger that was, and I mean, and I don't mean the type of cliffhanger where it's like there's some resolution, but you're excited to see the next part of it. It's this type of cliffhanger where it's like, hey, dude, I was like in the middle of like writing like the start of this story and the start of this resolution, and just dropped it. I just dropped it. I stopped it in the middle of it, and I'm just gonna like let you guys figure out this mess. I didn't feel like figuring it out.
Right. Well, and like, yeah, that was the thing. Is like
it's such a thumb in the ass, dude. Like it is.
Because, like, the reason he left the show is that they wanted him to bring on someone to help him write the show and be the showrunner with him, because he kind of sucked. He
I would think so, because
his process was so scattershot, and, like, every single shooting week went over the budgeted time because he could never put out scripts fast enough.
No.
So they wanted to bring in someone new, and he wrote them a cliffhanger and then left. And according to this, there was never any intention for him to come back for the next season. So,
oh wow,
Where's that music coming from?
I don't know. I'm having some technical difficulties here, man. I'm a little frozen up here. You can hear me, brother, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can also hear this like chill jazz music. Do you hear that music?
Yes, I do. I think we're having some technical issues here in the working week. Yeah, my StreamYard is acting a little funky.
Oh yeah, for some reason night driving was on. That was night driving, folks.
That was night driving. Well, anyway, yeah, it's a very interesting end to that season. Still, with our technical issues, but yeah, no, like I don't see Sorkin. Yeah, Sorkin definitely needed some writing help at the end of that with all the shit, especially with like the intern garbage, where it's like he's acting like, yeah, I guess that's like his call for help is that like, yeah, just give me a bunch of like women that you underpay to like treat me like a god every day, and
well, according to some of the stories, that's kind of what he already had. Well, if you believe him, that's what he already had. If you listen to the Writers Guild and some of his writers, they were writing a lot of these episodes, and then he was doing rewrites on them and putting his name on them.
Wow, that's like that's real fucking shitty. Yeah, fuck you for being fuck you, Aaron Sorkin. Don't be on this fucking show. So let's see how the next writer does it, Tim. You got me excited hearing about how this next press is going to be, because like I'm wondering what the perspective is going to be, if it's still going to be about the White House staff working against their GOP president while they have to listen to him and like, you know, follow his orders, but like still like hating what he does, or are they still going to be like, you know, involved with Bartlet at all? Like is because I would feel like Martin Sheen would still have to be a huge part of the show.
Yeah, we'll that's a good cliffhanger. I'm going to be traveling next weekend, I think. So I think we might be missing next weekend. But all the answers to Killian's questions there will be found when we cover the first 2 episodes of season 5.
That's correct, Amundo, folks. But until next time, we will be working, and we expect you to keep on working.
Keep on working.